going any farther, first, let me start out by saying Merry Christmas Eve to everybody. I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in on this day before Christmas. If the best case scenario plays out, gold, silver, as we get closer to 12:30, you should see it pour down a little bit like we talked yesterday. We have the markets closing at about 12:15, 12:30. So the speculation here would be, with a lot of people with massive gains, depending on how you look at it in the portfolio, they're running out of trading days to sell out and either take that capital gains hit from the gains we've made, or take the capital gains loss, on your gains that you didn't make and on your loss. And we're getting into that time frame. Now, with gold and silver, it's a little tricky because we have options expiring. Well, we have contracts expiring, let's say, when we get into next year. But you could have, at the end of the day today, if you have the traders, and I've seen this before, and it just depends where the markets are at. And since gold and silver's top heavy right now, and crypto is lining up for, if you're looking at it from a technical aspect, if you're looking at the charts, and it doesn't have to play out, and we don't know where the support starts, but it does seem if we hold that $1.79 area, preferably above the $1.79, around, like MQT would say $1.81, which we've held so far, we could start into expansion, and you need expansion to reach the last part of contraction, which would bring us lower than that $1.77 hit on XRP. If this, in fact, was a 5-wave, which, is actually a 5-wave. Now, if this doesn't happen and we fall below $1.77, you can actually, if we were to lose $1.81 and ultimately $1.77 fail, you can just rip up that agenda and that narrative, because then we have to go lower, and maybe wave 3 wasn't done, and that would be a scary proclamation, because then it would seem if we had 5 waves down and we started lower, the 4th wave up wouldn't be as high, and then the 5th wave would be a dramatic drop. And that's where you can end up falling down below $1, and then you get into scenarios where some people might not be able to talk about it or want to hear about it. I am a little disappointed, I must say, in my audience. Not all of you that are here, of course, but some. That live we did yesterday, and I know it was a view of if we actually did go into a wave 4 and what it could look like for expansion into Christmas. Apparently some people were offended. Some people took unkindly to it. There was a lot of rude comments in that video to begin with. But then the lengths that some took, it had over 1,400 views. And some took the lengths to report it for some reason. And I'm not exactly sure why or what we said in that live that pissed people off so much, except the fact we said that we could move up for wave 4. I don't understand what the big deal was. We talked about if it didn't break out, what the repercussions would be. I even talked about what I was planning on doing and what I had done and what I will do. And it's like I'm not exactly sure where we missed the mark there. I thought it was a beautiful live where we looked at the contrarian view instead of it just going straight down, with the higher liquidity, with the possibility of wave 4 starting and what that would mean. I tried to put a positive spin on it yesterday, something I haven't done in a long time. I put my hat on, and I know it sounds funny, but I put my hat on so people had good vibe. You know what? Now I got to replay it. Although my hair looks nice today, so I don't know if I want to put my hat on. I had my hat on. We were having a good time talking about the what ifs if we break up, because we seen that possibility. So I got a message on YouTube, no strikes. It just said that my posts had been reported, yada, yada, yada. And normally they don't take them down. It has to be an egregious amount of reporting. So what I think happens is the same people who splice accounts, and you'll see the same person comment spam in your comment 1,000 times. So if you delete them, they just come back with a splice name. They probably just kept recreating new YouTube, so it made it look like there was more people reporting me. So with that being said, it only hurts the audience. It doesn't hurt me. I know the content. I know already what I'm doing. So if you want to see it, I had to even take it off Telegram because it was linked to YouTube, so there was no point you'd click on it and say it was removed by YouTube, or it was just removed in general. So you can go on Facebook if you want to watch that video. I thought it was a beautiful one. We did XRP, Bitcoin, crypto, Christmas pump starts now, and we talked about it. if we were going to start, it would be pretty imminent into the, and I said to watch for the next 18 to 36 hours would be the most interesting parts, especially to see if we can hold the support to start. And then by Christmas Eve into Christmas Day and beyond, if we could have like a couple of weeks here. And like MQ said, if this played out, it could possibly lead us into late January, early February. Oh, wait a minute. There is no video on Facebook. Is it? Oh, yeah. What? I thought I downloaded it. It never downloaded? Oh, well, that sucks. Well, that's okay. Well, I guess it was there and now it's no. Well, now you can't even see that perspective. So, you know, even because if it drops here, those support numbers were what we needed to know too to see if it would hold. Oh, I did so much work in that video last night with our audience. I don't even know why there would be emotion one way or the other. I'm just putting out a video. It's my perspective, you know, so it is what it is. Anyhow, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about what we have in the here and now. I do have some things I bought just in case there's a rally. I did pull back on a couple other things that are just too volatile on certain exchanges, so I kind of stuck with the bigger names. And that's just the way it's going to be a little bit going forward. But we'll see how this plays out. If we can hold that $1.81-ish, I know we could extend lower, but like MQ said, that's a very important range down there. So that's the number that I really think is important myself as well. So we'll see what ends up happening here in the 4-hourly. Got 37 minutes left. I mean, it hasn't been a great candle to start the day. There hasn't really been any volume either way, which is kind of expected. If we look to see how the daily candle started so far, it's an engulfing one to the downside. Now, we did have a wick down here to $1.83.6 this morning. Pulled back up here now to $1.85. Is that a sign? Well, first thing I would look at is let's take a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was down 55, 60 points, and now it's back up about 1 point. The S&P was down, and now it's up 9. The Dow was down, and now it's up 127. So could that be something? We need some kind of push, though, to reverse this. So the best I can say is if we're looking for some kind of crypto rally and a wave for a push, it would start at a very unexpected moment. And right now it's starting red. This is what I would expect to start today. But at some point here in the next 12 to 14 hours, you would start to see some kind of, and we've seen some kind of a bottoming start to rotate. The problem is we're rotating around, but we haven't been able to slice out yet. And if we keep rotating like this, then all of a sudden you could do this. And then you might be able to V out. We also have to look at the USD dominance. A lot of people always ignore this. This is like, I would say, is almost like the gatekeeper. This is the gatekeeper of what's coming. So if dominance is, if people are buying into the stable coin, you know, this is a reason why it's been pretty choppy this morning. So people are still putting more money into the stable. Yes, it's rotating down in the stochastic and the 2-hourly, but that's still very small evidence that it's starting a reversal, because as of right now, that looks like a nice candle up unless it reverses on itself. Which is possible. We're going to get that. You're going to get, you know, gamblers don't just go away because it's the weekend in the markets. And you might get that itchy finger now. Is that itchy finger more people shorting the market? Or are more people going to come in and be speculators and try to make profit in the market? I'm going to buy my position and think it's going to go up, or are more people going to wait for some kind of red and then maybe they capitalize? You know, there's a lot of unknowns when you get to this time of the year. I'll tell you that the one thing we know is this time of the year is very volatile, and it comes with positioning too. With the end of the year, when you want to be in a position or not, start the new year fresh, or you start it, you know, you rework your losses out, or you rework your gains out, just where you're at with your overall portfolio. So, you know, there's a lot of things to consider, but let's start here. Good morning. 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, 24th, 2000. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Looking here, we've had some touchdown this morning, but no invalidation of the inverse head and shoulders yet. And that's what it's going to take to invalidate what I'm seeing, is to invalidate this formation. And yeah, one could argue, is it extending out? It is. But at the same time, when it's extending out like this, not only is it clearing out some of its overexhaustion, and this doesn't just go for this, but this chart actually shows it pretty nice for demonstration purposes. And you can go like, I would go like this. If I was looking at this, I'm looking at it more like this. I'm saying, hey, we created what looks like possibly. Here, let's just, I'm going to do this a different way because this one's kind of slanted. But it's coming down, kind of round here. So if we're looking at it that way, well, then we're going to have to try to create some kind of neckline here that this guy's going to be able to connect to. Because of the way it's slanted, I would almost say you got to do something like this just to make sure you stay above there so that you don't invalidate an inverse pattern. So if you're watching this, that's how I would look at this. Everybody might look at it slightly different, but this is like your bullish bearish trend line. If it holds that line, you're going to come up for volatility and at least push the 200 day and the 2 hourly and see where we're at. You know, so that's at 33.9, but ultimately when this pushes up, if it does, the 4 hourly would be what you're looking at. And you're looking for a retest of the drop point here, which would make sense. You haven't had no volatile retest. And 37.6, I mean, that's an interesting move if it happens. Now, be very, 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 very cautious the moment it gets under. It's not that far, 31 cents. Because once you get below that, now you can start talking about invalidating the neckline. And once you do that, it's an invalidation of an inverse head and shoulders setup. And that's across the board. We've got this across the board. Like, look, even though the numbers are red, when we were talking about XRP yesterday, it was all the way down. It was up and down. It was down to 183. It was up to 187, but it was down to 183. Talking about algo, it was down in like 102, 104. So it hasn't broke out, but it also hasn't broke down. Like, we're in such a weird spot. As long as it holds that 109-ish area, we're pretty good. It's like validating possible, but if we invalidate this structure, be careful. Even if you're positioned for something, if we invalidate the structure, you have to be careful. And it's on everything. It's across the board. Yes, there's opportunity, but don't get caught up in opportunity when it turns into despair, so to say. You know, but never give up on something until it gives you a reason to give up in the short term. Hey, We the Bank, you are welcome. You did get that gifted sub for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. I can't remember exactly who sent it, but I'm glad to see that you appreciate it, my friend. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. Merry Christmas, 391 Will, and thank you so much for the $19.99 super chat. That's extremely generous, my friend. Like, I really appreciate that. So very much. Are we looking at XDC being a guiding stone here? Are we looking at XLM maybe looking at a potential move against XRP? Because when you look at the XDC XRP pairing, it's been breaking out. 4 hourly's way overbought. Weekly's moved into overbought. And then when you put XLM against XRP, weekly's oversold. Way oversold. Daily's moving up. 4 hourly moving down. So what are we looking at here? Expansion, contraction. There's a reversal here, big W reversal, a nice, what looks like a little flag. Looks like we could get a little expansion on XLM compared to the XRP price. A little more so than we might get with XDC. So right now, in this very moment, if you're playing the pairing, XLM is a better deal at this very moment versus XRP. And I don't think XRP, if they expand, it's going down in price. So that could mean that XLM could have a bigger rise if we end up having it, or a smaller fall. Either way, it would benefit the XLM holder. But I do like XDC expanding out here big time. It's a good sign. Very good sign. But we still got a lot of work to do. I hope this is making sense to everybody. I'm trying to be as focused, tune out the noise, and just look at the opportunity of what it means, knowing the Elliott wave. We can't ignore what the Elliott wave is. It doesn't matter how red it looks, how our emotions make us feel, and the Elliott wave is not a guarantee. But if you're looking at it for guidance, we can't ignore what comes next, which is expansion before contraction. If we contract and don't have this expansion, well, we might end up with sub $1 XRP. So you want a little expansion. A little expansion here never hurt anybody. If we contract down before expansion, it hurts. Because then the move back up is not going to be as great, which means the move farther down on the fifth wave is going to kill us. Dan Marginal, welcome in, and thanks for being in town zone for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor along with Bright Future Freedom. Good morning to all of you, my friends. Another thing, remember the 4 pillars of success, not just in this community, but in life. And if you stand by these 4 things, and I'll explain what each of them mean like I like to do. Faith. You have faith that there's something greater than yourself. There's something more than just... Yeah, you have to have faith that there's something greater than just you, and it's for the greater good. You have compassion. You need compassion. Compassion for somebody allows them to be themselves, and you also have a deep down connection. You need integrity to know that it's about more than just yourself, and that integrity brings humbleness in your actions. So, and then love, because showing love will allow that to emulate, and love is the greatest power we have, greatest energy we can give, and the greatest gift we can endure. So faith, compassion, integrity, love. I think if you have all 4 of those, it's a great pillar for success, not just in here, but in your everyday life. And those 4 pillars I've come up with over my life, and it's been 42 years now, as my birthday was on the 17th of this month. But faith, compassion, integrity, love. You could do faith, integrity, compassion, love, but I think to get to integrity, you have to have compassion. To have compassion, you have to have faith. And to get to love, you have to have the other 3. Because everybody can say they're loving, but if you don't have the faith in somebody else, the compassion, to understand what somebody else is going through, to understand that you need to have a little integrity so that you approach the situation properly and end it with love. I mean, I just think it makes a lot of sense. Some people might not. Bearded Viking, thanks for being in town zone for 3+ months with the XRP Media. We pray for Mighty Marcus that he continues the good fight. And we keep him in our hopes and prayers. Not just hopes, but our prayers. And for guidance from Yahweh and Yeshua and God himself, because more than one person spoke the presence of our Lord and Savior, which means God has become present and he can deliver miracles. And I believe he's delivered miracles by allowing us to foresee what happens before it happens. I don't mind get calling a douchebag. I don't mind being out in front of what most people can see. I really don't care. As long as I have the right guidance and understanding. MC, welcome in, and Merry Christmas to you, my friend. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty Dot House Crypto News. Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Defined, I seen your comment about how do you get a hold of Bearded Viking. He's in the comments right now. Hopefully he commented below. Bearded Viking, if you didn't see Defined, he wanted to know how to get in touch with you. I wonder if you have an email address or something we could share. Because I would like to personally get something for Mighty Marcus for Christmas. But I don't know how to do that. I think it would be... I really do want to. Defined Group, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram with Crypto Cooter. And thanks for being very trusted mods. And also in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor to both of you. Defined said, hey everyone, hit that like on the way in. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. I could not agree more. Hope Botanicals, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Totally awesome. Good morning, along with Alina from Kansas, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas Eve. Right back at you, Alina. Thank you so much. We're so proud to have you in here. Our audience base is growing in a very positive way. both male and female parts of the audience, and we're becoming wiser, smarter. We're not as afraid. I think most people are starting to adapt a little bit in a better way. Um, but I think we're getting closer here in 26, and I think the way that my own personal direction is going, I think you're all going to be happy in 2026. On Monday, I plan on having a link so that you can at least sign up for my classes if you are interested. I won't say any more about that today because we have too much to talk about. But I'm going to be using Square probably as the payment processor because it can be used in 163 different countries. So that's how I'm going to do it. And it's going to be a fun time. But it's not going to be relatable to YouTube, the Telegram. It's actually something I'm doing different, but I'm sharing the information obviously here as well. And some people are going to be there that you don't know because they're not going to be part of this side of my world, just the other side of the world, let's just say. People that for some reason won't watch me on here. Poppy Lou, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. MQT, welcome in, my friend Scotty Trades in the Telegram. Thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram, and also being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor, along with Maple Man, who asked me, Tom, can you talk about the forces that actually move the price? I think it's manipulated to get retail out. The first thing you need to start with is the trading algorithms, the trading bots, because I don't believe they actually manipulate the markets. I believe they have a steady, they do manipulate it in a way, but not the way people think. People think they're manipulating it to get us out of the market. You are so wrong. If we're out of the market, they can't take our money, remember? The more you know. Why would they force you out of the money if they need you in the market to get their exit liquidity? Doesn't seem to make any sense. So what they do is they make these strategic rhythms in the algorithm, and they either turn the sells and buys on or off strategically, and you will know this because it's physically, it's just impossible from an algorithmic standpoint to have every single thing at the exact same time all of a sudden stop going up and stop going down. So right now, they were making it, I feel like this morning the buys were kind of tapered off. There's not a lot of sell pressure, as you can see. We've been more than steady in this area for a reason. And the only reason I think that it is because a lot of technical traders are looking at the possibility of a fourth wave. And instead of either buying or selling, maybe they're observing. So a lot of even the shorts aren't being put in as of yet because I think a lot of short traders are waiting for that expansion so that they can make that big move to contraction. I really do. Now, it might break down, but that's the philosophy that I think. So when you start thinking like that, all of a sudden in a moment, they'll either turn on the algorithmic shorts, the sells or buys. And it could happen in a perpetuals market too, where they just stop shorting or longing something as much. But most likely, it's happening in the spot markets. They turn off these one way or the other very gradually across the market. And that's the only explanation to have every single token in unison go down or go up. You'll see things that are up 30, 40, 50%. And right when something drops, like Bitcoin will drop 3%. No matter what, even if this thing is soaring out of the building, all of a sudden it'll have a 20% correction, which doesn't seem like a lot because it's up a couple 100%. But it's odd that it happens at that exact moment when it was going parabolic. So... And it seems to be the same thing every morning, and it happened again this morning. It happened again this morning on routine. Yes, it's come up a little bit for XRP, but we were just down to $1.83 again. And now people be like, well, it's only down 0.25% or one. Yeah, but it was just down to 183 when they did this. It literally just went from 186 to 183 like that. And now it's slowly building its way back up. Bitcoin was down to almost 85, under 86K. It had a quick grind. Right when the moment came this morning. It happens on routine. Now it's pulled back up 600-700 points. So now it looks a little different. Now is it going to continue? Nobody really knows. But I think that's what ends up happening. And I try to put some people will watch my morning update and I get the same scumbag who comments every morning who's like, oh, here's some more useless information. He's just telling you it's going to go up or down, but not paying attention that in the morning 60-second update, if you get that when you wake up at 7 a.m., typically, like today was around 8, but on a normal day, it'll be around 7 when my son goes to school. If you get that at 7, 8 a.m., and that's the first thing you see, instead of watching a 45-minute video or an hour live when you first get up, you can listen to this and be like, okay, I know today now If we fall below $1.81, I need to get my ears and eyes out, because if it falls below $1.77 and invalidates that support, this is a problem, and we very well could expand or contract down very quickly to $1.57, and it's something we really don't want to do. But if I'm watching this in the proper way, I should be looking for the expansion out as long as we maintain these supports, which means based on what he's saying, I need to make sure we get over that $1.94 so we can get a little clairvoyancy here so that we have a little bit of space. And then we can start to expand out to $2. And then maybe we can make a run for his higher numbers, which I talk about briefly. And then I talked about this morning as well, the possibility of the wave forward, things like this and other things. So that 60 seconds is meant to make you know what it needs to be, the potential, that support where it needs to hit. And if that fails, well, then you got to start to worry a little bit, because then we can start to have the fallout. But if everything's going right, this is the number we need to hit for the resistance of the day, and then we can start to cook a little bit. And I have to do that in 60 seconds. So, like, that's my favorite thing to do. I love to try to figure everything I talk about for an hour, like what I'm talking about right now. I like to try to put that into 60 seconds. So that's something that I like to do. So when people mock me, it gives me a little bit more inspiration, because I'm like, how can you not realize this is not just an up and down, left and right? That this isn't just me saying it's going to go up or down. This is your roadmap. Like when you take a test, they don't give you something to study from and it tells you 100% the answer. No, it gives you all the things you need to study from, because if you understand this, it's going to be on the test. You don't know which part of this is going to play out on the test, but you know if you understand the algorithm within these notes, and you understand it, and you really study it, and you know what to look for, that's going to be on the test. Now, not all of it's going to be on the test, but just like with this, not all of what you see in the technicals are going to play out, but if you understand every possibility that's in front of you, you know how to play it. Because once it takes the downward route, you're like, okay, we're starting to worry. When it takes the upward route, you're saying, okay, now we're starting to expand here a little bit, and maybe we can cook. So that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. And yeah, they're Grinches, but that's okay. The Grinches keep us honest. If there was no Grinches, you wouldn't understand the beauty of the ones who truly love what you do. You know, you need that. That's the truth. If you don't see the bad, you can't really, really appreciate the good. And if you don't appreciate the good, you can't let the bad just, you have to take it for what it is. I used to get a little irritated with the people. It changed somewhat in the last couple of months. Like, I don't even feel any mad. I just feel like disappointment sometimes, because it's such an easy transcript to understand. And so many people just, they can't just open up their hearts and mind to be like, okay, this is what it's meant to be. This is giving me my guiding stone for the day. Like, he literally just gave me exactly what I would pay somebody in 60 seconds, what might take me 4 hours to come up with myself. Or maybe you can't even come up with it yourself, because I watch the support resistance religiously. I would put that up against anything I do against anybody else, is that I have the best, in my opinion. I can't say that. I have one of the best support resistance, because I never know. There's somebody better. You can't be the best at everything. But I know I'm above average when it comes to that. So if there's anything else you can get from me when the day starts, if you understand the support resistance setup and it breaks out or down one way or the other, you can make the trade. Or you can understand where the trade's going. Or you can understand where the expansion or contract. I mean, that's the one thing that a veteran trader will tell you. If you understand support resistance, you're good. Just like a baseball player, if you understand the rotation of the baseball as a hitter, oh, you're great, because no matter which way it comes out, you know what the ball's going to do. Most people, even MLB players, can't recognize the spin on the ball. They kind of look at the hand, the way it moves. But if you can see the spin on the ball, that means you're slowing it down in the moment. That means you've been through the circumstance over. That means you're probably going and watching and waiting and watching. But once you can recognize it, you're out ahead. That's how I feel with the markets. I can recognize the pattern because I've already got every step set up. So once it takes one road or the other, I'm already so far out ahead that I can make a plan when it seems like a stupid plan. And until that structure breaks down, I'm golden. Like right now, it's red, but because of the plan, I'm not down yet. I may have gotten out of certain things because I seen volatility on KRAKEN that I don't like, and there's 2 tokens I can tell you for a fact that it's going to be a problem on there with. Unless you buy it and then just sit on it SHX and DAG, the volatility is insane. And they're forcing you up 4, 5, 7, 8% because of it. There's not a lot of people trading, and that's where you can get hurt. You can't have that. So like right now, in my opinion, the best things to trade on Kraken, as I found in volatility, Algo, XRP, XLM, XDC, Band. What's a couple? Oh, Linnea was great. Linnea actually gave me a lower price than it said, which was weird. H-bar, good. The trade on there. Lots of liquidity. Let's see. SHX's liquidity was so bad. That's why I took it off here. I'm trying to put the ones that are good liquidity on Kraken. So when I talk about, Linnea. Another one that I would look at on there would be Quant. They had great order blocks. I'm considering it. I wanted to look at that this morning just to put in if we're going to have some kind of move up. I wanted to keep like the XRP, XLM, XDC, and now Quant part of the equation. For liquidity purposes, that's all I'm going to say. It's liquidity that's bothering me right now. So I'm trying to find it from a liquidity standpoint. I still think, even with Linnea, there's a chance here it breaks out. But has anybody else experienced that with Kraken with certain things? If there's certain things on Kraken, like have you noticed this with SHX? Have you guys noticed this with DAG? And how big of a hindrance it is, and you can't really trade it like that. Unless you're going to buy it for the long hold, which unfortunately, with the way this is playing out, this is not technically, this wouldn't be a long hold if this is just the fourth expansive wave. God, I hate talking like that, but it's the truth. But yeah, I'm open for, I like to hear what everybody says. Like, yeah, right now on Kraken, it's at 6.4, and look where it's at right now. Even on Coinbase, 6.41. So, and then you look for, you have to go to Best Ask, though. Best Ask, 6.41. So, the fact that it can keep up like that, that's something to me. That speaks good for liquidity, because if you're trying to get in and out, you can't you have to have liquidity. Otherwise, you can't do it. It doesn't work. I just bought $200 worth more of what I had just to see if it would fill at that price. I'm dead serious. I wanted to see. I told you, a lot of this is me studying the system too, because I need to know in high times of liquidity. Like I've been able to expand deeper and deeper and deeper into Linnea with this strategy. Yeah, see, it filled it at 00639. Limit price, I put 0064. It filled at 00639. Wow. Well, that's great. That's what it was doing yesterday. There's proper liquidity there. So if you have to sell out, I want to just, out of curiosity, I want to see if I went to sell with the liquidity right now, with what's going on, what would happen. I encourage everybody to look through this on your own exchanges too, when you're not trying to sell, just so you can see. Best ask for a sell, 0064. Well, I highly doubt that. I'm going to sell $100 worth just to see. There's no way it's going to fill at that. Not with the price where it's at. I don't think it's possible. Yeah, see, it didn't fill at 0064. I was going to say, there's no way someone's going to sell you it at this. They're not going to, it's not going to happen. Let's see where you would have to go. I'd say probably 00636 would probably get the job done if I had to guess. Let's just see. I'm just curious. 00639, and I just did a small amount just to see. But yeah, it sold it out at 00639. So, okay. That's pretty good. If you're looking for Linnea, I mean, on a tier 1 exchange, that's good. That's what you want. Stuff like that. It works the same with Band and other ones I mentioned. I just hadn't vetted out enough with Linnea on a volatile moment with the buy-in. So, I mean, the buys, yes. The sells, I was getting out before the expansive moment to the downside. Ooh, nice. Down 2.1%, just like the rest. That's good. Another one. Another one. Are we in an inverse head and shoulders? Or are we coming down? This is another one with the exact same short-term setup. I can say the farther it drags on, you know, you don't want much more, but the stochastic, the RSI, or the stock RSI is beautiful. Where it's at right now. I'm just saying. It's actually in a really good spot right now. For the shorter term. Just for the shorter time frame. What is that for? I mean, I like that. I like how that filled out. I'm gonna get back to the comments. I'm sorry. I just like to do stuff, and I like to watch this. It's fascinating to me with what the exchanges do and the real times. Joseph Euler, thanks for the $50 super chat. Holy crap! Wow, are you serious? Merry Christmas, Tom. Buy little T a gift from me. Thank you always for your hard work, buddy. You better believe I will. Right after this live, I'm gonna go on and buy him something more. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Bearded Viking, if you send me an email, I'll definitely send it over to, I'll definitely send it. Yep, Bearded Viking, perfect. Said you crawled under a semi. Be safe under there. Said I will send you an email at your Strut address. You are welcome to share my email. Thank you all, man. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Let me look. I'll look today when we get done with the live, give him a chance to do it, and then when I come on my next live, I'm gonna share it. He said it's okay, and then everybody can get in touch if you want to. That would be really nice. That's really cool. Thank you, Bearded Viking, and Define. Thank you for trying to reach out. We have a very loving audience here, I must say. Very generous audience at that. So we have the inverse pattern here. We have Linnea, which is trying to spike up. This could be an early start here with the ones with the inverse pattern. If it plays out 4 hourly, pushing more in a bullish fashion, but we have to get above the 20-day, which is right around 00641. I love how these are just on these inverse settings. Because then if it breaks down, there's no question. There's no question of what comes next. Quant would at least have to come to 70.46. And then if that breaks down, then we're contracting. And that's what I'm saying. We don't want to contract yet. No, sir. We want to come up here before we recontract, I think. At least it's in our best interest to come up there first. I'm just saying. Otherwise, we could have a problem. I hope MQT's, he's not saying it's going to happen, but I hope the one philosophy that he has, and he's got the other one too, like I do, which we don't want to hear about the other one, which we're talking about. But the one philosophy is we have a 15-20% run, and it can run us maybe even farther. Maybe it could expand out even. Maybe it could be a 30%, but it takes us into mid to late January, maybe into early February. That would be the scenario that I would love to play out, personally. But, you know, one of the ways for this to play out was my theory is that gold and silver was going to dump today if this was going to play out, because a lot of people would sell out going into the new year with the contracts and everything. You know, because you can't trade past today for a couple of days. I thought people would sell out today, and then they would have money if they wanted to trade in the 24/7 market in crypto. So this is actually doing exactly what we talked about yesterday. I guess we have an anomaly with B2 gold, or Barrett gold, up 93 cents or 2.76%. But this is exactly what I wanted to see if we were going to get some kind of crypto run. I wanted to see a rotation out of the precious metal, at least for a couple days, you know, as the markets close at 12:30 today, and then that money can rotate into a risk asset. That's what I was hoping. So from that standpoint, it's a decent sign, but we still have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. It's way under 2 points or more. I compare prices. CB is better. The spread on Kraken is crazy. No, it's not. Not on Kraken Pro. It's not crazy. I can attest to that. And I bought him with big numbers. big margins of numbers on XDC and a couple others. And when I sold, there was not a big margin. You have to do KRAKEN Pro and pay the $4 and something cents a month. Trust me, it's a huge difference. I wouldn't use it if it was a big spread. Believe me. That's why I don't use crypto.com. I just store stuff there if I have to, if it's the only place that it can sit. But yeah, that's my experience. I can tell you if you use KRAKEN without being KRAKEN Pro and paying for it, yeah, you're getting molested. And I can tell you that from personal experience. Mrs. Stott and Mr. Stott, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Mr. Stott said, had a girlfriend who woke up in a shitty mood every day to set the tone. It was an awful experience. That's not what you're doing at all, and people need to understand the difference. Yeah, I mean, I understand that perspective, like saying it like that. I definitely do. I didn't think about it like that. Because I'm not, that's the thing, like, I'm not trying to set a bad tone. I'm just trying to set, I'm trying to set the real tone. Like, I'm trying to give everybody the real vision of the day. Frankie Fresh, thanks for being in Tom's Arm for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. I hope you and Janine are doing blessed on this Christmas Eve. If you're watching, Janine, I love you. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas. We have so many people to be thankful for in this audience. Not the bots, of course, but other people. Lord of Drink, welcome in along with Brendan. I thank you for being here on this Christmas Eve. Silver Days, welcome in, and thanks for being here on Christmas Eve as well, my friend. You've been around for a long time. Carl, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. It says it's 72 degrees here in Florida. It is, I think we're around breaking 30 degrees now here in Michigan. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see. I hustle harder than you. Good morning, and yes, you are correct about every morning at 10 a.m. we seem to have some kind of weird volatility in the crypto market, don't we? Let's see. It's not a pep talk, it's a prep talk. I agree, Lord of Drink. I don't know, Tom, been watching for years. You're up there for sure. Matt and Nick as well. I'll take your word for it. Oh, MQT and Nick as well. I thought you were talking about other influencers. I was going to say I'll take your word for it, but you're talking about MQT and Nick. I can second that and third that. I agree with you there. I picked up some more Algo and H-bar, waiting to pick up more XRP and XLM. Interesting. We'll see what happens with these. H-bar and Algo are definitely in that same kind of a setup. And H-bar right now, your guiding stone is if we stay above, and you really don't want to keep coming way down here, but at least you can look at it because you still have the inverse head beautifully played. But that's basically your guiding stone. Right now, though, we're looking for some kind of expansion out. That'll catch people by surprise. Would it surprise people that this would happen as we get closer to 12 and 12:30 with the... I had a little theory yesterday, a little conspiracy theory about the gold and silver traders, especially the ones that are the volatile gambler style traders, that they would sell out of like the mining stocks and their physical contracts of gold and silver, their paper trades, before we got to 12:30 today, so that they could use that money technically and they could spread it around in crypto. That was my theory. That was my own conspiracy. Now, I thought there was some interesting news that could lead more to a pump today as well, and some people might not think so. I shared it with the Telegram. It's on my Facebook. But these are things that I look for to tell me that we might be able to have a pump. And it might seem weird because it's not even in crypto, but think about this. Florida Pension Fund buys $47 million in MicroStrategy. So Florida's pension fund just bought $47 million of MicroStrategy stock, gaining indirect exposure to Bitcoin. Now also creates a narrative, what I've talked about, why money's not finding its way into the crypto market, because they're investing in these companies that own so much Bitcoin. It's by virtue they own Bitcoin by owning the company. And this is something I said was going to start to be a problem. And maybe this is the facade that's going to start to happen to trap U.S. companies and companies worldwide into losing it to the government. You know, because when they call the note and whatever, you're gonna have to give up your. It goes deeper if you're using your company. So, but by investing in a Bitcoin heavy company rather than buying crypto directly, the fund limits risk while tapping into potential upside. This move signals growing institutional acceptance of Bitcoin and could inspire other state-backed funds to follow suit. But notice, they didn't invest in the actual cryptocurrency. They're investing into the actual stock. So when it comes to certain things, they can get around certain regulations and blah, blah. So and then we have to look at the initial jobs claims number. But think about that. So by them doing that, they're giving a vote of confidence to MicroStrategy, which at least gives the allure to me as somebody who's reading between the lines that it's not going to go insolvent in the near future. And that's a Florida pension fund, and they are in the in. They are on the no. So it's convenient timing that they did this right before a potential move up. Even if it's a fake out move up, it's interesting timing that they would put that pension fund in literally on the doorstep of what could be a wave 4 expansion. That's not by accident. To me, that's another sign that this could happen. And then they're going to get slaughtered if they don't get out for wave 5. That's what it tells me. Michael Saylor's laughing all the way to the freaking bank right now. Let's see. John Bugathorpe, thanks for the $5 super chat and also being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Says, Merry Christmas, Tom. If we get a wave pump before dump, how long a pump do you... I don't think it would last any longer than maybe the second, third week, or maybe could stretch out to early February. But it wouldn't last long. It would be a couple, maybe 3 to 5 weeks from here at most. But it would give you a nice expansion. But yeah, I mean, Q3 season. I mean, Q3 is as good of a guess that I could have. That's not a bad. That's not a bad proposition because it's going to take a series, unless it's a quick shot down, and I mean quick. It's probably going to take a series of months to get through that fifth wave at some point. But yeah, I would say 3 to 5 weeks is the upside potential here if this plays out. And I have to say if because the Elliott wave, after all, is just a theory, after all. It's the Elliott wave theory for a reason because it's not fact. It's just a theoretical data that gets put out to us if we understand that kind of analytical flow. But it doesn't guarantee anything. It gives you a perspective. And then you start to measure it with the stochastic, and it's way oversold in these areas. Stimulus checks will pump. I don't know about any stimulus checks. Nobody's getting one as of yet, except for the troops. But that's just to bribe them into probably fighting against their own citizens and an insurgence that's going to be coming up here. And I hope the 2026 prophecy doesn't come true, but I don't even want to get into that yet. Let's just talk about crypto and the positivity here going in. Let's see, 1970 legend, welcome in. My fellow Buckeye from down in Ohio. Well, not fellow, I'm a Michigan Wolverine, but our friend Buckeye down south, down there in Columbus. Getting ready for his college football playoff quarterfinal against Miami. Watching Miami, Ohio State's probably going to send them to Pound Town, but you never know. I mean, that game might be a 30-point game. Everybody complains about James Madison or about Tulane. If Ohio State's playing right, they're going to beat Miami by like 5 touchdowns. That's going to be it. Is anybody going to say Miami didn't belong? Oh, yeah, the Notre Dame people. So let's see. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XB589 Moon Badge. We all need to go to Michigan for a white Christmas. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a white Christmas here. On Christmas, we're going to get an ice storm. Christmas afternoon to evening to Friday morning is supposed to be an ice storm. It's getting too warm. Our snow actually melted. Yeah, I have no snow now. On Christmas Eve, believe it or not. It might be colder today, but it got into the 40s for a couple days. Even though the lows were getting cold still, but it still got into the 40s during the day. Some people are like 40s. That's still cold. The Cannabis Podcast said my hunch was clarity wouldn't pass until 2026, and now my hunch is stimulus checks to bribe the electorate and whitewash that list they got. That's not a bad thinking, my friend. That's not a bad thinking, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. So thankful for you and all your information you put out on your Cannabis Podcast for holistic healing and keeping us ahead of the schedule. Cannabis being rescheduled, you were talking about that for the better part of over the last year or so. So anybody who's been listening, we're able to stay ahead of what was coming. Let's see. Tornado warning in Cali is crazy. Reminds me of the movie 2012. There's a tornado warning in 2012. No, I know, but somebody said tornado warning in Cali is crazy. Reminds me of the movie 2012. Is there a tornado warning in Cali is what I was saying right now. We got lots here in Canada if you need some snow time. Well, where I live in Michigan, I might not have it at my house, but if I just go like 45 minutes north, they got snow. And if I go 2 hours north, they got tons of snow. If I go 4 hours north in Gaylord, they've got feet of snow. If I go 6 hours north into the UP, they've got tens of feet of snow. It's just where I actually live right now. We're getting the squadooshed. We're getting squashed. The Cannabis Podcast, thank you so much for the gifted sub, my friend. Not only being in Tom's Army for over 1 year, or over 6 months with the I Told You So badge, but a gifted sub here on Christmas Eve for one of our friends. Notable Zero, congratulations on getting a gifted sub from the Cannabis Podcast now in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge, I kid you not. I kid you not. Oh, Julie, remember when I said I couldn't find the brush? It's on my desk. It's sitting on my desk. That's funny. There is, along with major flooding warnings. So California has a tornado warning, Julie, with flooding warnings. Can you please let us know what you see in Canton? What do you mean? What do I see? Like weather-wise? Snow-wise? You gotta watch Vincenzo's Gold Crypto. Well, he's Michigan Snow Forecast Gold Standard on Facebook. He's got like 19,000 followers now, but he does the best weather stuff. Bar none. Someone complained about one of your videos, maybe because we talked about pot. People don't like weed, they can get it. No, it wasn't about that. We talked about that a lot. I think it had more to do with the fact that I was getting a lot of rude messages in the comments about the fact that we were saying that we could have a Christmas rally, or the fact that sometime around Christmas that we could have this wave 4 expansion. Some people were really pissed off about that. I don't understand why, though. Weren't people just really pissed off at me for saying we were going down for so long? So I say one day with the possibility that we could have expansion and we should be happy, and then people get mad at me for that. That's the fine line that you just really can't care anymore, you know? So you just got to do your own thing. Oh, crypto is pumping. I don't know what the hell CC Canton is. I don't usually even bother and waste my time with the ones that these people are pumping. Remember the GOAT token and many others? I don't know what the fuck CC Canton is. Who's pumping it? I don't understand. Is it your influencers? I mean, that's a big inverse head and shoulders and a back test perfectly. So I don't know who's pumping it, but it looks ready to pump. If I was looking at this, if this doesn't break down, I mean, there's not a lot of volume coming in, so I'd be very skeptical once it gets to what it's... I don't know what the fuck this is. This looks like some pile of shit. You got to be careful when crypto scammers are pumping this. They draw you in with liquidity. You can never get these upwicks anyhow because that's just them doing it. And then you end up thinking it's got this big move, and then you get part of this liquidity. And yeah, it's fun if you buy it. But what they do is they bring it to a certain point, and then they just sell it all out if that's what's going to happen. If that's what you're saying. If not, it's that's what it sounded like somebody was saying. Okay, so I'm just crypto. It's pumping. I thought you were saying like a crypto community. If this is just pumping on its own, this is good because that looks like a nice inverse pattern. But yeah, I think you were trying to say, now I understand that crypto is pumping, and this is one of them that's starting to pump. Perfect inverse head and shoulders. I just don't know what this is. Somebody's mentioned this name. Maybe when they were saying Canton in the chat, I was thinking they were saying they were from Canton, Michigan. They were actually talking about this crypto. Seriously, I think that's what was, because I seen other people talk about Canton, but they never said anything beyond it. I think I was always like, hey, they're not too far from me in Canton. Now I feel kind of stupid. They were giving me they were giving me like a good advice, and I'm thinking they're talking about where they lived. Sometimes you just have to say, here's your sign moment. Quant's starting to slowly reverse its trajectory here. I'm almost tempted to buy a little bit of Quant and just see if it plays out. It's such a small window down. It's such a minute risk here. I mean, it's not like tiny, but it's a very small risk. Like, you're talking about less than 4% here to try to play that inverse head out. You had a chance to buy when it was at 0.00. Well, the way it looks now, I guess, you know, might not have been a bad opportunity to take, but how are you supposed to know then? You know, that's the problem with opportunities. Like, right now is an opportunity, but are we willing to buy? I was willing to buy to try to take advantage of this opportunity in this market for what I see with expansion, but is it going to play out? I have no idea. I could be sitting over here I could be bent over the railing come Friday, right? I am seeing some factors play out that I think benefits us with what's going on with gold and silver, because in my opinion, it had to have something like this. Now, we should get some volatility back up as well today to confirm it, but we needed to not have a steady rise to 75 in fucking silver and 4,800 in gold, and the miners up 17% today. You know, we just needed this to happen. Little correction, get some red in here, correct the push up, clear it out a little bit. We need USDT to slow down, which it's starting to. We talked about it at the start of the live, but I said I can't just say it's reversing right here because it hasn't started yet, but it looks like it could, at least in the short term. Unfortunately, as of right now, it pushed down a little bit, but we still need to have a lot of work get done here with USDT. The good thing about the total crypto market cap is it almost fell off the cliff earlier, and now it just looks like it was coming down for its liquidity before it moved to trap some people out. If this continues, but we need to get over the 20-day and the smaller time frames. 2 hourly still has work to do, but that's a beautiful reversal here. On a wick down, this is exhaustion. That could be an exhaustion wick. Finally, you had one here, and maybe this is to finish it off. So we'll see. I'm intrigued. Like I've said, I'm intrigued. Looks like a big inverse head. Looks like an inverse shoulder, and it did it on the back test on the trend line. So, you know, that's a perfect back test. That's a tailor-made back test if you want to avoid going to 252. It's a tailor-made. And eventually you're going to come there probably anyhow in wave 5. But I'm saying for now, you need this kind of stuff. You need this kind of stuff. Oh, the Bitcoin expiry on Friday is going to get dicey. Oh, it's going to get dicey. Canada will see $100 silver by the end of the year, and my name isn't Jake. What is it right now, John? I'm liking Goro for a medium-term investment. What is... I think I've heard you talk about that. God, I got so many different things in my head that I can't keep up with. But I like when people talk about their own stuff. I say, now you're in my arena. You got me interested. MQ. When you mentioned, you got me interested now. This is more in my arena. Now, I will say the first thing that I see with this pattern, ironically, you can look at it one of two ways, I suppose. Because the first inclination would be to look at this, copy this, and be like, hey, Tom, are you paying attention, Tom? We're in a riding channel. I would say, well, it appears to be that way on the onset, but I don't think that's what its intention was. I think it's actually starting to break out of this consolidation. And if it can get out of that channel, it's going to get validation. You could even do it a little bit higher here, and then it would blow your dick off. Like, if that's not telling us something, this is like a wet dream for analysis for the technical guy. And then you could even do it a step farther and be like, well, Tom, I mean, we got the resistance here. Why wouldn't you just go like this? And then I would say you could, and it's breaking out of every facet, no matter how you want to put it. So, I don't know. I think you're right, MQ. We could just be getting started here. Now, there's going to be, let's see. We're at the 200 day right now. So we're going to have to break past that. So you could ride this little channel up the whole way until breakout. Daily's way overbought, but that's whatever. I don't really mind the daily being like that because it flushes the monthlies big time. But obviously with gold's expansion, that's big W. Hold on, just out of curiosity, I want to see something. And I'm going to go back to our normal charts, I promise. I don't want anybody to get offended. Although people are sticking around today, so I don't see offending. But yeah, this should dump back down a little bit. If it's following gold trajectory at all. I just wanted to do this. It's almost like the fan system. So if we connect the W to this part, that gives you a little bit of extra support structure. I know it seems cheesy, but it actually makes sense. That's like your expansion down, but we've already broke over that. But that was just giving you kind of like a guiding stone. Now, one could argue, if you want to break the bearish zone, if it does come to the bottom side, and I'm not that guy, obviously, but I do like to know everything. So one could argue that on a correction, it could expand. Whoops. It could expand. What is it? Something like this, maybe. Right? So, you know, it looks kind of weird, but it's kind of setting up minor. So if we can get above this resistance, then it's just going to be a strict measurement. And this could be a pretty nice move here. Just from the standard, if it broke above this, you should come right up here and retest this. And then ultimately, in time, that's building a huge cup and handle. Watch this. Cup. Handle is being built right here, believe it or not. You measure the base of the cup. We'll just do it like this, a basic measurement. We're going to do it from the breakout. Puts it perfectly back up here. It would put you... Wow, that's a big move. So, I mean, if you had the patience and you were buying in slowly but surely on the drops, let's say your average price ended up being right here when it's all said and done. Oh, yeah, that's a double up for sure. I'm gonna keep that on my list. Wait a minute, did I go to the wrong one when I was doing that? No. That's pretty good. It was $98 last night in Canada. Holy hell. So anyone in Canada, see if your post office sells treasured Maple Leaf for $94.95. Wow. But yeah, MQ 2 to 3 months. I think that's solid. I do. I think by Q2 of next year, probably. After Q1 of next year, Q2 is going to be volatile to the upside, I think, again, in the 2 and 3 for gold and silver. For sure. This is one I'm actually going to put on my list and watch. This is a great, this would be, I need to put this on the other list. Underneath gold and silver, or by the gold section. It's an interesting one. I don't often add stuff to my watch list, but this one actually fits in the flow and can actually give us maybe deeper information as we go forward. Seems like it has a nice setup there too if you're patient to let it correct now. So this is 90 cents, so this will just have to be down at the bottom of the gold stuff. But it is a resource corporation. That's interesting. We'll just keep it up there so we don't forget about it. Sorry, but the CC when I ain't got the brain power to keep it up there. I have to have laser focus. I don't know where Axelar when I've been looking for that in Proton. But for some reason it keeps deleting off of this list every time I look at my phone. I feel like I have to do this every single time I come back on live, which is fine. I'll keep doing it. So I can't remember which Axelar chart I had. Well, that makes it easy. Well, XLR didn't technically break down. I know a lot of people are thinking it did. It didn't break down. It actually hit the support perfectly. Remember yesterday we talked about it? It technically didn't break down. It just came down to support. That could be a wild... Once that happens, it's going to be a wild pullback. Now, the only question is it coming down here? Somebody talked about the fractal yesterday, which is true. But do we have the oomph to come down there without having a little expansion out to get some more sellers to sell? Weekly looks like ass until it pulls back, if it even does. Monthly doesn't look great. But we'll see. It's actually right at that support structure. It's only off by a couple percent now. We talked about that 4% yesterday. There's a little gap I'd like to jump in. For which one, MQ? Sorry, I was... Oh, gap at 88, okay. 88. Because we should still have more upward volatility. It's not just going to go like straight down, but it's a correction today. You're waiting through this play now. That's a good observation, too. Man, this is tightening up, though. Now, I only drew it down like this because if it is in some kind of handle, I mean, that's not even 100% where it should be. It's close. Because you have the support, but it should have been up here a little bit farther into here. But anyhow, I've seen wild movements like that. But that would be a wild movement. That'd be like a 30% down from there. I don't know about that. I guess it depends what gold and silver does to start Q1, because I think Q1 could be wild. Imagine some people are not selling until the end of the year and waiting until the new calendar year so it affects next year's taxes. That could also be something. Bitcoin XRP has basically sat flat this entire live, like literally in the same $1.85 range the entire damn time. Hasn't been much movement at all. And now we're over an hour, and I've tried to stall a little bit to try to keep this going because my son's been very patient, but it hasn't done anything, so there's not much more I can add to this. 3 to 5 month medium term investment. Great job. Great job with that. Yep. Everybody who said they didn't take enough profits in the summertime and learn their lesson. Just think of moments like this. If we actually did get a play up, and even if we don't, if we get a play down, try to time something. If we get a play down, try to find that area before expansion, or if we do get the expansion here, try to figure it out at a deeper level where that resistance could come into play if we did make a break. Try to figure it out both ways. Right now, we're just stuck. We're stuck. And until 12:30 today, I think the real volatility starts once the gold and silver market doesn't trade anymore on the paper side. And because I think the stock market closes too at, what is it, 12:30 today?
For Christmas Eve 2025, both the stock and precious metals markets operate on an early closure schedule. Stock market, NYSE and NASDAQ. The major US stock
1:45 for the
exchanges will close
COMEX.
early
Okay.
today. Closing time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Options markets. Most eligible options will trade until 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Bond market generally closes at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Gold and silver markets, CME COMEX. Precious metals futures also have a shortened session on Christmas Eve. Metals futures close 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time, 12:45 p.m. Central Time.
Okay. So that's when that closes. XDC right now is at, oh, nice. Continuing to move up. Nice volatile spike. We drew it out yesterday. If it can hold, that's what we would expect to happen there for XDC. It's pushing out here at least. We'll see. We'll see, because XDC is running up and the rest of the market seems to be a little red here. It hasn't done anything major though. Like, everything is still sitting. I mean, Linea's up 1/3 of 1%. Big deal. Might as well be red. We're just stuck. We are literally stuck here in this little zone. So just consider everything I said. If you want to know more, join Tom's Army. Get in the Telegram. There's so many like-minded people in there. Almost at 500 people. We get people coming and going and coming and going. XRPNW I thought was crazy this morning. It was up 9%. And now it says it's down 8%. So a 17% swing. It's not showing it on here. That's a wild swing that just happened. Yeah, gold and silver still looks like it's just in correction. Crypto just looks flat, is the best way to put it, flat. Everything's pretty much exactly where it was at when we started. Like, nothing even changed. I think XRP was at 185.24 or 184 something when I actually started. High 184s, low 185s. But my son's out here. I'm going to let you